I am a past life regressionist trained personally by Dolores Cannon, and I come on here and tell stories about things that have happened during my past life sessions with people, sometimes future life sessions. Um, and today I was going to do something a little bit different. I got a question from somebody in the chat that asked me, how did I find out that I could read people's spirit animals? And this happened quite by accident. And I wouldn't make a blanket statement like, oh, I always know everybody's spirit animal, but it's kind of eerie. I do kind of know what people's spirit animals are. So what happened was I was going up to Kripalu, which is a wonderful retreat center in the Berkshires in Massachusetts. And they have a variety of different kinds of classes you can take, yoga training. I did all of my Reiki training there. And I actually ended up taking my daughter with me to go up there for a weekend to do some training. And on the way up there, she was probably 10 or 11 years old at that point. And I said to her on the way up there, is there anything that you particularly want to study or learn or do while you're there? And she was in the middle of reading those wonderful Philip Pullman books, His Dark Materials. And there's something called a daemon, or a spirit animal, that attaches itself to every human in that world. And she said, yeah, I want to know what my daemon is. I want to know what my spirit animal is. And I was like, oh, that's great. Maybe we'll meet somebody who can tell you, or maybe something will happen so that you know. And so we go there for the weekend. And that Friday evening, when the teacher was introducing herself to the circle of people who were there, she told us about her background and her history and stuff. And at the very end of it, she said, I have kind of a funny extra talent / hobby, which is I can always see people's spirit animals. And I was like, oh, awesome, great coincidence. You know, my daughter can maybe meet her and ask her what her spirit animal is. So the weekend got very, very, very busy. And Friday night passed, Saturday passed, Sunday passed, and late Sunday afternoon, it was time for us to drive back, and it was back home. It was probably about a 6-hour drive, and I completely forgot about the spirit animal thing. And we, just at the very last moment, my daughter said to me, we forgot to get my spirit animal. So I dragged her into the room with the teacher who was still there, and I said, go talk to her. So she went and talked to her by herself, and she came back out. And I rushed her into the car because I had to be back home so that I could work the next day. And after we'd driven about 20 minutes or half an hour towards home, I finally settled down enough to say, hey, what's your spirit animal? And she said, I'm not telling you. I was like, what? You're not telling me? That's not fair. You got to tell me. She's like, nope. And then she said, but if you want to guess, you can try. So I was like, okay. And so I visualized her, and then I saw this little animal just curling up at her feet. And I was like, snow leopard? Is that your spirit animal? And she was like, oh my God, you already knew it. You already talked to her. You asked her, she texted you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I literally just saw it when you asked me what I thought your spirit animal was. And she said, I don't believe you, which I thought was typical, like, daughter, right? So you know what I did? I turned the car around. I was like, I'm not taking this. I turned the car around. We drove all the way back to Kripalu, and I made her go inside and talk to the woman. And I said, you go ask her if she talked to me or if she told me anything. And she went, trotting into the building, found the woman, and asked her if she had told me what the spirit animal was. And the woman was like, no, I never talked to your mom about it. So she came back out to the car, and, I felt it was really important for both of us to have that affirmation, because I almost feel like if she hadn't gone back and done that, I might not have believed it. And she certainly wouldn't have believed it. So it was amazing affirmation. So after that, what I did was I started practicing, like I would visualize people, clients, friends, whatever. And I always saw an animal. I always saw, like a bird or a snake or an animal somewhere just sort of lurking around the person. And it's not always instantaneous. Sometimes it takes me a few days or I have to think about it. But eventually some little animal will come up to me and just kind of tell me, who they belong to. And, some people don't like the animals that they get. I remember one guy I was told he had a little snail that was crawling around next to him in a little shell that was so sweet. But I don't think he really wanted a snail to be his spirit animal. But the truth is, we have one, I think, that really does travel with us from the beginning of our lives. And then, as we need certain kinds of energy, those come in and out of our lives and join us for a little while and then leave. So I've always known what my spirit animal was. I've known it from the beginning. Maybe you can try to guess what it is. Make this a fun game. Anyway, that's all for today. I hope you enjoy it. And I don't think I've put it on my Facebook, but if you want to know what your spirit animal is, I think I get paid for half an hour of work to do that. I'm not sure, but if you're interested, let me know and we'll figure something out. All right. Ciao.